Life in Middletown is predictable and everyone appear to know each other. The town is peaceful and serene. One day, a little child who is strange and unidentified shows up at the police station asking for assistance. With the exception of one officer, Sammy Jenkins, the town's police force was jaded by their daily routine and disregarded the boy's pleadings. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Middletown was the picture of tranquility, tucked away in the center of the state. The streets pulsed with the regular rhythm of everyday life, and the trees there murmured tales of the town's lengthy past. However, one steamy day, a little unkempt youngster named Teddy wandered into the local police station, shattering the calm exterior of the community. In this well-known community, Teddy was a mystery that had arrived out of the blue. His wide, terrified eyes reflected a sense of urgency that didn't seem appropriate for the relaxed environment of the station. Tears streaked his dirt-smudged face as he stammered forth a narrative that seemed unthinkable for a town the size of Middletown. He claimed his mother had been abducted. The lack of major criminal activity in Middletown had lulled the officers at the station into complacency, so they dismissed Teddy's allegation as a child's imagination, a crazy exaggeration, or maybe a cry for attention. They believed that kidnappings only occurred in far-off cities, not in their quiet village. With a tense mixture of incredulity and irritation, they turned down Teddy's entreaties. It was simpler to write Teddy off as a wayward runaway than to give credence to his upsetting story, since this was an interruption, an abnormality in their usually ordinary routine. But one officer stood out among the sea of doubters, Sammy Jenkins. With a heart as big as the surrounding grasslands, Sammy had a loving spirit. His character was molded by an unconscious empathy derived from his own early experiences and generosity. Teddy's cries reverberated throughout the station, and Sammy was a ready recipient. His instinct caused him to halt and see Teddy as a terrified youngster in dire need of assistance rather than as an interruption. Teddy's nervous manner, the slight quivering in his hands, and the genuine worry in his voice were all picked up by Sammy's weary eyes. He saw that this was a sincere request for assistance rather than a pointless pursuit. He felt a wave of pity wash over him, a flashback taking him back to a time when he had been just as afraid and powerless as Teddy. Driven by obligation and an unexplainable connection to the terrified youngster, Sammy made the choice to pay attention, to really pay attention, to Teddy's tale. While his co-workers persisted in their contemptuous banter, Sammy bent over, met Teddy's gaze, and provided him with what the rest of the crew had not been able to. Empathy, comfort, and a pledge to assist. Unbeknownst to him at the time, his decision would solve a riddle that would upend the peace of Middletown. Sammy was sucked uncontrollably into Teddy's world the instant he bent over and paid attention to his cries. It was a dismal universe, molded by anxiety, filled to overflowing with extreme despair, and characterized by an unshakable will to save his mother. Behind this hard exterior, Sammy understood, was a little, vulnerable heart that pulsated with hope, terror, and a love so deep it was willing to confront the unthinkable. Sammy began to draw connections between Teddy's reality and his own history as he dug more into it. Usually relegated to the back of his mind's dusty recesses, his recollections started to rise again. Teddy's diminutive frame and terrified expression brought back memories of his own helplessness and loneliness. He felt compelled to take action, as though he was gazing into a mirror that reflected a period in his past. Sammy opted to ignore his co-workers' skepticism at the police station as background noise. Their doubt, based on Middletown's tranquil past, stood in sharp contrast to Sammy's increasing certainty. Sammy was increasingly determined as they continued to reject Teddy's allegations. He made the courageous decision to look into Teddy's accusations and to take a chance on the young stranger. Soon after, Sammy and Teddy set out on their adventure together, a fearful but driven child and an experienced cop with years of experience working together for a common goal made for an unexpected alliance. They started carefully assembling the pieces of the supposed kidnapping. Teddy's mother was one step closer to them with each new clue they discovered and path they followed. They followed every lead that led them, spoke with neighbors, and went back to the suspected crime location. Teddy's persistence impressed Sammy. Driven by his intense desire to save his mother, the child never shied away from jumping deeply into the inquiry, even in the face of terror. Finding the kidnapper's identity required maneuvering through a maze. They discovered new information with every turn and twist. Some pointed to the abductor, while others offered hints as to Teddy's mother's whereabouts. Despite the difficulties and dead ends in the inquiry, Teddy and Sammy were unwilling to give up. Sammy saw his perspective change as they dug further into the mystery. He was more than simply an officer going about his business. He had evolved into a child's rock. Sammy was motivated to bring Teddy's mother home safely by Teddy's bravery, even if their quest was becoming more and more dangerous. This mission was now more than simply a case solved. It was a monument to the resiliency of the human spirit and the strong relationship created in the furnace of common struggle. As Sammy and Teddy continued to delve further into their inquiry, they found connections that took them to places they had never imagined. Remarkably, a few leads led to well-known local residents, pillars of the community, people regarded as models of trustworthiness and morality. It seemed like a Pandora's box of secrets that the quiet town of Middletown had been carefully hiding until these ties were finally revealed. The town's formerly cheery outlook was clouded by the uncovering of these disquieting connections. Middletown appeared to be a vision of beauty, but upon closer inspection, ominous images concealed behind the layers of paint. Sammy and Teddy began to wonder whether the tranquility of the town was really a skillfully constructed facade, a layer covering up the less pleasant realities that were hidden behind its perfect exterior. Middletown started to resemble a network of secrets and conspiracies, rather than the comfortable, peaceful town they were used with each new, unsettling revelation that came to light. The amiable countenances of the villagers appeared to conceal hidden narratives, their warm grins barely masking the simmering unease inside the community. Silent murmurs appeared to reverberate from every corner, each one holding the key to unlocking the terrible enigma they were trying to unravel. At the same time as the inquiry was unfolding, Teddy and Sammy were growing closer in terms of trust. Sammy started teaching Teddy the fundamentals of investigative work, building on his years of police expertise. With every new disturbing discovery that came to light, Middletown began to resemble a web of secrets and conspiracies rather than the cozy, tranquil town they were used to. The friendly faces of the peasants seemed to hide stories under their smiles, the simmering anxiety in the group only somewhat concealed by their welcoming smiles. Every nook seemed to be filled with soft whispers, each one bearing a secret that would help them solve the horrible mystery they were attempting to solve. Teddy and Sammy's level of trust was increasing concurrently with the investigation. Sammy began imparting to Teddy, via his years of police experience, the principles of investigative investigation. Sammy shared his knowledge with them for hours, showing them how to decipher evidence, investigate leads, and follow their gut feelings when reason seemed to fail. Teddy, on the other hand, showed himself to be a quick study. Like a sponge, he soon picked up on the subtleties taught to him by Sammy. They created an alliance in the heat of their difficult pursuit as they collaborated, exchanging thoughts and possible leads. Their mutual dedication to the truth and their shared weight of the task united them. Sammy and Teddy's relationship developed into much more than just in a mentor-mentee relationship. They would become comrades in a cause greater than themselves. As they waded into the murky waters of their research, their mutual trust served as a beacon of hope, guiding them through the menacing shadows produced by Middletown's exposed secrets. As they dug further, Sammy and Teddy transformed from a police officer and a little child into the truth seekers in a community full with lies. No matter how unsettling the secrets Middletown had been keeping, they were ready to reveal them thanks to their increasing friendship and common resolve. As the light of truth started to peek through the veil of Middletown's secrets, Sammy and Teddy encountered a strong foe. The kidnapper, who had been hiding in the shadows the entire while, realized they were following them. This unanticipated turn of events created a black cloud over Sammy and Teddy's inquiry and unleashed a torrent of threats against them. The kidnapper's nest had been disturbed by their pursuit of justice, and he responded as if he were a trapped animal. The town's atmosphere visibly changed. There was a pervasive sense of impending danger, as every shadow seemed to harbor some sort of menace, and every corner echoed with the prospect of conflict. Middletown, a quiet village, has become the set for a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Sammy had a lot more responsibility as the level of danger rose. He was put in the middle of a storm and given the responsibility of both saving young Teddy and the town's residents from the kidnappers' fury. Sammy was aware that any move he made may tip the scales in this precarious scenario, so he had to proceed with caution. The danger was increased along with the stakes. Sammy remained resolute despite the terrifying warnings. Rather, his defensive mechanisms went into overdrive, turning him into Teddy's unwavering defense and a stronghold against any dangers that would have derailed their objective. Their relationship was only made stronger by their shared experiences, which led to an unspoken understanding and unwavering trust. The plot took an unexpected turn just when they believed things couldn't get any more convoluted. When Sammy and Teddy learned who the kidnapper was, it was like receiving a shockwave out of the blue. They were shocked to learn that the kidnapper was someone they had never imagined, someone who was a part of their daily existence. They were sent into a frenzy of dismay and amazement by the news. Every one of Middletown's amiable faces may potentially be the antagonist in their own story, cloaked in uncertainty. Their entire worldview was upended and a hint of treachery added to the complexity of the situation. As Sammy and Teddy made their way through this dangerous and treacherous labyrinth, they encountered even more thorns in their path. They knew that this was the worst part of their trip now, but the mounting threats, the shocking betrayal, and the many levels of deceit strengthened their determination rather than weakening it. Their search for the truth had now turned into a conflict with time and lies. Teddy confronted the turmoil valiantly, with Sammy's shield of protection surrounding him and their common determination guiding them. This story had become more than simply a search for Teddy's mother. It was a struggle for justice, truth, and Middletown itself. Beneath the watchful sky and trepidating trees of Middletown, the climactic clash marked the end of Sammy and Teddy's quest. Their months-long odyssey culminated in a time when they had to face the abductor. It was an examination of their bravery, cunning, and the unshakable friendship they had created in the midst of hardship. The exchange resembled a high-stakes game of chess where each move and choice was a careful dance on the brink of disaster. But even in the face of danger, Sammy and Teddy remained resolute. They couldn't give up now. They had gone too far and faced too much. Equipped with their mutual resolve and unwavering faith in one another, they firmly established themselves prepared to battle for fairness. By using a calculated combination of bravery and cunning, they were able to outwit the abductor. Teddy's daring attitude and astute reasoning, along with Sammy's years of experience, swung the odds in their favor. Teddy's mother was successfully rescued, capping their grueling search despite the increasing strain and dangerous conditions. The town was rocked when the kidnappers' misdeeds were revealed. The townspeople saw a reality that rocked the very base of their calm and trust when the ominous curtain of secrets was removed. The realization was a tough pill to swallow, since it made them face the unsettling truth that had been concealed underneath their tranquil lives. Following this hurricane, Sammy became the epitome of bravery and tenacity. The people in the community, who had before disregarded Teddy's allegations, were now in admiration of his steadfast bravery and his unflinching dedication to justice. He gained the respect and affection of the community by acting as a bright example of what it meant to serve and protect. Teddy thanked Sammy from the bottom of his heart, feeling relieved and appreciative. To a little child, Sammy was more than simply a police officer. He was a buddy, a hero, and a protector. Teddy was so grateful that words could not express how much it meant to him. His eyes were full of admiration, and his grin was full of trust. Teddy and Sammy promised each other as they stood among the reverberations of their triumph. They had become inseparable over their trip, a closeness that had carried them through their worst moments. Their common experiences testifying to their special bond, they pledged to be friends. The incidents had shaken Middletown, a community long ensconced in its peaceful delusions. They gained invaluable insight into the value of empathy, the effectiveness of listening, and the necessity of elevating even the tiniest voices among them. They came to understand that, despite the appearance of calm, it was crucial to listen to the nagging voice of reality. Teddy's narrative ultimately showed the strength of trust, the force of unwavering perseverance, and the victory of truth, rather than merely the story of a criminal apprehended or a mother saved. Middletown has never been the same after Sammy and Teddy's excursion. It had a lasting impact on both the town's history and its residents' emotions. The town's peace was now accompanied by a heightened consciousness, an oath to pay attention, and a commitment to have faith, even in the most improbable circumstances. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.